Hello, my name is Alan. My pronouns are he, him, and tonight, in my time at least, I'm facilitating the second of 4 sessions of Against the Dark Conspiracy. This is my own game of supernatural espionage confronting, in this case, a FAE conspiracy, a dark FAE conspiracy. This is a game in which we are dealing, the characters in play are former criminals or spies who have been blown or busted or crashed out of their previous occupations, perhaps because of the conspiracy or in order to pursue the conspiracy, or in one case, perhaps because the conspiracy threw them out. It's not entirely clear. But that is the game we're playing. Now, I've played with all these players before. We are playing in keeping with the Gauntlet's code of conduct. If you don't know about the Gauntlet, please search Gauntlet-RPG. We have a calendar of about 100 online RPG sessions a month. It is our mission in life to encourage people to play RPG online and to play with a really positive table culture. So do please check out Gauntlet-RPG and come and join us for some games. We have a kind of approximately seasonal Gauntlet Community Open Gaming Weekend. The next one starts on Thursday, the 24th of June, runs 24, 25, 26, and 27th of June. A chance to come and play with us for free because we want to encourage people to play online. I think that registration for that starts on the 1st of June, but I can't quite rate. Probably about midday Eastern, so kind of afternoon in GMT adjacent. But do come and check it out and come and try play with the Gauntlet. What else do I want to say? This is a game in which we are dealing with potentially some dark themes of betrayal, conceivably gore. But the bottom line is that we are trying to do that with safety in mind, so everyone has a good time. So we're playing with safety rules, tools. We're playing with the X card, lines, veils. We're playing an open door, so if somebody needs to just break from play, that's fine. We'd love to have them come back, but they don't need to explain if they need to step away for whatever reason. And as I say, we're playing within the Gauntlet's code of conduct. What else do I want to say? Not a lot. I want to get on with the game. For more, check out the start of session 1 in this series. But let me begin by asking the players to say hello, tell us about their pronouns, and introduce us briefly to their characters. So Will, say hello and introduce us to Mark Shearwright, who I notice is now behind you.
Yes, menacingly behind me. So I'm Will, pronouns he, him, as are those of Mark Shearwright, who is an assassin, basically a hitman for an organization called the Black Lodge, and who was betrayed by his conspiracy handlers.
Short, sharp, and to the point. And so far, you have not felt the need to put the person who matters to you in the conspiracy crosshairs.
No,
went very smoothly last time. I'm quite surprised not to find anyone having thrown an anchor under the bus.
I think I rolled like 4 6s last time.
You did terribly well. You did terribly well. Let's move along. Brandon, say hello and tell us about Jesusita Ramirez.
Jesusita Ramirez, or Chewy to her friends, sometime back when she remembers having friends, is a woman of Spanish origin who did some intelligence work for the Mossad before she realized what was going on. She was brought in to fight the conspiracy when her lover, Lev Adelson, who was also the father of her daughter, was taken from her. She has no idea what happened to him in the time between her daughter Rosa is the one she would do anything to protect, and so far she has managed to keep her safe, but we don't know how long that's going to last.
Well, I never know which way to wish it will go. Moving along, Sabine, say hello and tell us about Kadir Gunnar, the gun.
Yeah, hi, my name is Sabina. I use any pronouns. I'm playing Kadir Güner, who lets other people call him Gun. Kadir is originally from Germany, but his family way back was from Turkey, so that's why the name. Well, he likes to blow stuff up, and he's pretty strong, I guess. That's him. And he was with the GS-G9 Special Forces guy. And then he had this team, and they were best friends, band of brothers, everything you imagine from these American thingies here, movies. And then one day they all were attacked or something, and he survived, and everybody else didn't, or was taken or died horribly. And now he kind of wants to figure out what the thing happened. Yeah. And why they didn't kill him or take him. Were they afraid of him? I mean, I'm sure he accepts that, but he can accept that, but still, it's worth knowing, right? It's worth knowing.
Thank you for that. David, say hello and tell us about Andy Lamb.
Yeah, hi, my name's David. I use he, him pronouns. And yeah, I am playing Andy Lamb, who also uses he, him pronouns. Andy Lamb is a middle-aged man. His family's from Hong Kong, though he himself is British. He was a former police detective, and for a brief period subsequent to that was an agent of the National Crime Agency, where he specialized in missing persons and human trafficking. In his role as in investigating that side of things, he discovered a string of missing disappearances that had no earthly explanation, and that was kind of his entry into the world of the conspiracy. After pursuing a number of seemingly nonsensical leads, he was given voluntary early retirement from the agency, and he has continued his investigations in a less officially sanctioned fashion.
Though from last week still has a very clear kind of moral purpose as a policeman, I sensed.
Yes, yep, I think that's probably fair to say.
Now, I just noticed that Andy has yet to declare which member of the team he cares most about and which member of the team he cares least about. Do you want to give us a view on that now?
Yes. Sorry, I think I did do that last time. I just didn't write it down because that's what I always do in these situations. I believe the person I chose that I cared the most about was I think I went for Jesusita. And the person I care least about was I still feel like mildly guilty, but yes, it's also Mark.
No one feels very warmly towards Mark, and just to clarify, this is a group linked by previous experiences, so they go back some way prior to the conspiracy. And they are drawn together because they are true believers. So they trust one another, but they may not like one another a lot. And people may care about Mark. They just care least about Mark compared to the others. And of course, Mark may do some stuff to change that view, for all we know.
For all we know.
You can clear your current load and gear. We'll go back to light loaded to kick off today, because we'll start from scratch in terms of what equipment you might want to use during the operation. But your contacts will remain as they are and will develop as we play. Yes. So last time on Against the FAE Conspiracy. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sabine.
Question. does our expertise, did you say that came back and we missed it, or didn't you say that?
Sadly not. You can, I'll run through how you can get that back in a moment. I just wanted to make sure that we're on the same page in terms of where we got to. Last time, the team hit a museum in Manchester because they were led to believe that if they could obtain an item there, a ring, which I think the last time we saw it was in Jesusita's kind of possession,
Yes.
that this ring was the necessary leverage to get what we assumed was a mortal apparatchik within the conspiracy to spill what they knew. And it's not entirely clear yet whether the woman that Mark Shearwright kidnaps a strong word, convinced to accompany him, and then
kidnap's
her.
the right word.
Yeah. It was a pretense that turned into a kidnap.
It was going to be a murder, and then the rest of them showed up, and it was like, oh yeah, kidnapping. Yeah, that's what we were doing.
I see. So Dr. Brown, Flora Brown, I think, is currently being taken by you. She was the curator at the museum, and I'm not entirely certain why you felt the need to kidnap her until at the end, when it looked like she was going to unleash an elemental storm on you.
Oh, well, the original plan was to make this all look as though the doctor had got greedy and wanted to steal the ring. But of course, a bird in the hand is worth 2 dead ones in the bush.
Indeed. And what went very well was that you did, I think, Jesusita managed to switch the ring, the original ring, for a decent copy of the ring. So there is still a ring in that display case. And you legged it out of there and escaped from the handful of very heavy duty security. Manchester museums are not known for having security armed with compact submachine guns. But quite what Lion Security was doing there, again, remains unclear. So what I've done in the Operation 2 tab is to just summarize, is Dr. Brown the apparatchik, or is it someone else? Why is the ring important, and to whom? What do the FAE want? Because you were interested in the big picture. Can the ring's fear be contained? Because sadly, that ring emits an aura of fear, and anyone possessing it is rather shaken by that. So those are the questions I noted last time. Where are you going to hold Dr. Brown, or do you want to question her in the van?
I suppose one thing I'm not clear on is the leads, do they form our operational objective, correct? Which one we decide to pursue, is that right?
What I've done is to put down, I think, the obvious leads.
Yes. Yeah.
If you have other ones, don't feel obliged to follow those. Those were just the ones that at the end of last time in the debrief seemed to pop up.
But could I spend, say, for example, intel to say that Dr. Brown is the apparatchik?
You don't have to spend any intel. You can just tell me she is the apparatchik.
Okay. How does everyone feel about that? I mean, it just seems to make neat sense to me. Yeah.
I think so. I mean, certainly she has a giant interest in getting the ring back.
And how did we get the intel about the apparatchik? Just remind me about this. What was the connection?
You found some stuff when Andy left the National Crime Agency. He took with him, a potted plant, a mug with, Yorkshire's best policeman on it, and a number of files that he's pretty convinced no one is going to miss, because they all thought he was bonkers anyway. And it was in digging through those that he got that lead.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't get what the lead is. The apparatchik is someone who knows more, and we should talk to them because we want to.
What it said was, there's a conspiracy apparatchik ready for exploitation. Find their weakness and turn them.
Okay, yeah. That in that case, it makes total sense then, because then we would have killed 2 birds with 1 stone. We got the ring, we got the apparatchik.
Bingo.
Bang.
Yeah. Because what you declared was that the ring, that the apparatchik would be obliged to cooperate with the ring bearer. So given that kind of fictional positioning, I'm very happy for each of you to ask me a question or ask Dr. Brown a question and see where that takes us.
Oh, can we have it that the ring is actually an interrogation artifact?
You certainly can. Well, explain what you mean before I say yes to that.
Meaning that the ring sphere aura is that part of the purpose of the ring was to make it easier to question people.
Yeah, very happy to do that. Yeah.
Yes, so that would be,
words.
other than you being bound to it, it was more a case of the ring can always, it's not individual to the apparatchik.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
It's the other way around. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I'm very happy for
that sounds good to me. Yeah.
So let's go along let's start with Mark, given that you're over there on the edge of the character keeper. What kind of question do you put? Well, I'm still keen to know where we are.
We, I think, are in a, how does it sound to everyone, a place called Pomona, which is a derelict space of land in between 3 canals in Manchester, and there's literally nothing there other than property development that hasn't been done in a long time. Great play, by the way, named the same thing. But anyways,
Okay.
Yeah, that's where we are. We parked the van down there underneath the tram tracks and by the canal. There's maybe one homeless guy far off, and
a distant fire burning in an old oil drum or a bin.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
As dusk falls, the romantic dusk of Manchester. And so, Mark, what do we see you doing?
Mark is holding the ring and a little sort of like, like distasteful. And as the doctor starts to stir in her, strapped to a chair in the back of the van, he leans over and slips it onto her finger.
Okay, right, okay.
Just to sort of prime it.
Starts.
Yeah, yeah.
And hands bound to the arms of a chair, and she looks down, sees the ring, looks at you, and is clearly panicked.
Well, hello, Dr. Brown. Nice to have you with us. Now, I have just a couple of questions for you, and then, we can make this all end very quickly, I'm sure. The first is, who is your handler?
And she's trying to resist, but she can't.
And that razor blade is just sticking out. It's just sort of like trimming his nails with it.
Let us at that point, she says, "You don't want to know," and I think we'll insert a cut scene here. Let's go to Jesusita. Jesusita, when we cut to this cut scene, are we observing a winter or summer scene?
Winter, absolutely.
Winter, okay. And I think that we see a forest, a valley, a wooded valley. Snow is falling, and as we pull back, we realize that the view we're getting is through a thick glass on a pile carpet. Let me ask Gunn. Gunn, what is it that tells you that it's the 1980s?
Oh my gosh, there are no people around, right? But there might be the 1980s. Yeah, there might be some sort of an old Apple IIc on a table, and you have these large rectangles that are floppy disks.
Okay, so there's this clunky PC as we move up from the glass that's sitting on its side on this pile carpet, up to this ancient PC. And Andy, what tells us that we're actually inside? It appears to be in some kind of office building. What tells us that the view we've seen is outside, and what tells us this is an office building of some kind?
I think there's that kind of flickering fluorescent light that's never quite stable. Very off-white. Well, they were probably painted off-white. They're probably now somewhat more stained with cigarette smoke. Very coarse carpet that's seen a lot of wear. It's just got that general unlived, well lived in, but not homely. Yeah.
Exactly, not at all homely. I think if they've got the camera work on this right, we've seen the computer, we've seen the view through the big window, we've seen the worn carpet and the computer all through the refraction of this glass as a golf ball hits it and it spins, and then a well-manicured female hand reaches down, picks up the glass, tips out the ball, and kicks it. Use 5-inch heels, kicks it out of view, and we follow the heels back across this carpet with a putter swinging next to the heels, and a voice says, "What do you mean? It's not the ring, Roger." I'm sorry, Mistress. There was a fracas at the place. It looks like someone tried to get it, and then when we went in that night, we retrieved it, but it's a fake. Roger, would you pick up that ball? And we see a man comes down into view, and his head, there's something wrong with his head. His skull is misshapen or badly put together. It's weird looking. And then the putter strikes it in the middle of the forehead, and there's that unpleasant crunch as a blood spray hits the carpet. You have to do better next time, Roger. Let's go back to Dr. Brown. You have no idea what you've done. It was
You have
safe
no idea
where
what
it
I'm
was.
about to do.
My mother told me to hide it, and I hid it in plain sight. It could have stayed there for decades, and no one would have been any the wiser.
But then it wouldn't be useful, Dr. Brown. And look at how much it's making you talk.
Let's go to Jesusita. Jesusita, what question do you want to ask? Because I think that tells you who a handler is.
Yes. Well, we had an inkling that that another group wanted it even before the flashback.
You did.
We did, and so it's like, hide it from whom? We know that one of the special groups wanted it, but we don't know who. And you're going to tell us.
You just have no idea what's going on, do you? You don't know that you're just stepping into a war that is eons old. The mistress wants it. And now it's not safe. She'll come for it.
She would have come for it anyway. And
and you can protect it.
You don't seem to have done a very good job.
And a tear begins to run down her cheek. Does that give you a sufficient idea of who wants it? or have you got a more specific question?
It's
Maybe
just
the
a code.
mistress.
It's a code. It's just a code name to us. Tell us something about the mistress.
The mistress is Winter. Mother, mistress, virgin, master, does this mean anything to you?
They sound like code names to me, or they might as well be, without any other reference.
Oh. Out there are beings who want to squeeze the mortal world, okay? Squeeze it till it screams. And my mother was trying to keep a balance. And you've screwed with it. Gunn, do you have a question for Dr. Brown?
Yeah, I kind of do. I mean, so this Mistress Winter thingy, she wants the ring and she's coming for it. But you said it was part of a war, right? So if there's a war, that tells me that there is another side.
My mother seeks nothing but balance.
Yeah, between what then?
She wants a degree of live and let live with mortals. The mistress is bloodthirsty.
Yeah, okay, and so your mother is not immortal? Is that what I'm hearing?
My mother is the mistress's mother.
So the mistress, what? Wait, the mistress is your sister.
It's difficult.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, if she's her mother and your mother, that makes you sisters. That's not difficult. That's just sense.
Or half sisters.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I will settle for half sister.
Okay, see?
Mother has many daughters.
Okay, and one of them is coming for us, and
coming for that ring. This ring.
Yeah, sure. Okay, but you are, how should I say it? Not that impressive.
It was my job to be ordinary. She took me because I was ordinary. She kept me because I was ordinary. I was put back because I'm ordinary.
Okay, I guess. So there is no one that she's warring against that we can enlist.
You want to take my mother's side?
Oh no, not really. We want to. What's the impression? Someone help me here with both sides.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Something like that.
The people we know that the people who wanted this ring, presumably the mistress, are our targets at present. We know that they are the ones who are behind some of the worst depredations. And so therefore, if these people are trying to do something to stop them, then they may well be our allies of the moment.
So the mother is Dr. Brown's side, which we could call Summer, right?
Mother Summer.
And Mother Summer, and the mistress is
Mistress
Mistress Winter. Yeah. So according to Dr. Brown, who works for Summer, you can't trust Winter.
Indeed, indeed. You can never trust Winter. Andy, do you have a question for Dr. Brown?
Yeah, I think Andy's going to kind of step up and say, so you say that people will be coming for this ring. Your job was to protect it, so I figure you must have some idea of who's most likely to come after it. So give us what you know on them, and we'll see if we can't work out a little something.
Okay, I think that's the point at which we get into constructing the next operation, because the next she will tell you in a meta sense what you want to hear. Yeah. So is there anything else you want to know before we get to that point, Andy Lamb? Because you've got a freebie, if you like, in terms of big picture context.
Yeah, cool. In which case, I'm just thinking if there is something I am. Okay, what I am interested to know is how we might, if we wanted to get in touch with an envoy of the Summer Court, to put it in those terms, how would we go about doing so?
You could release me from this chair and let me take the ring. I mean, there is a question of what you're going to do with Dr. Brown that I'll just leave you to sit on for a bit. But I think in terms of where this takes you, in the sense of the game, it takes you where you want to go. So let me think. I think that I started with Mark last time. So let me start with Jesusita this time and ask who or what is the focus of the operation. And we'd almost post hoc try to work out why.
I'm looking at your
And Gunn, you can begin to think about where you want the focus of the operation to be. There's that big table over there starting on column I. Where's she going to send you? Or does she give you a name of someone or an organization or a something? I guess is
I have an idea for the where.
okay.
Tell the where.
The circus, of course.
I will say now the circus has proved in the last 3 months to be a very popular destination.
Well, then we'll have to make it work with the who then.
Oh, don't worry about that.
Okay.
I mean, we'll find some rationale for having the Prime Minister there if you need him.
Yes, I do want the target to be a politician, though.
Okay, so if you hit the drop down and just select politician, all will be well. And if you want to just insert where it says choose from the list in column I onwards, then if we can put circus in there, and I can move along to Andy and say, or more precisely, David, actually, I'm asking this question of the meta question, what is the most likely, though probably not the only FAE conspiracy threat?
I feel like if there's going to be a creepy circus, I mean, technically, it could be a non-creepy circus if such a thing were possible. I don't think it is, but I think it is probably. I think probably conspiracy occultists is the sort of vibe I'm getting here. It definitely feels like the sort of place that something weird might be going on.
Okay.
And I'm just looking at the drop down option. Oh, sorry, is that me that chooses that as well? Or
no, you choose the who.
Yeah,
and
cool.
then I go back round to Will to see what Mark wants the conspiracy occultists to be doing.
Yeah, that's cool.
What are you thinking, Will?
I thought I had to wait for David to choose.
Oh, sorry, David has chosen conspiracy occultists.
Ah, I see. Right. Sorry. And it's what do they seem to be planning?
Planning
and
or doing, yeah.
Conspiracy occultists.
It's a nice drop down if you need suggestions.
Oh, I see. Yes. I mean, I want to tie this back into Andy's backstory, which is, I think, recruiting innocents, right? Disappearances of people and things like that. I want to see the dirty that the conspiracy is doing. You know, our reason to kill them and go through it all. You know.
Okay. Okay. So, in answer to that kind of question, how could we make a difference? Is how I interpreted Andy's kind of leading question. Was that a politician is going to be at the center of this? The location is going to be a circus. There are going to be conspiracy occultists who are recruiting innocents. So that is our outline framework.
A circus. Yeah. Okay. Should I give it now? I can think of something.
No, what I'm now going to ask you is therefore, what is your operational objective? What at the end of this do you want to have discovered, found, saved, helped, done?
Where are they sending those people?
Okay, so we've got an opening here is where are the innocents being sent? Question mark.
Yeah, and I guess what for?
Okay, so.
But I think that's encompassed in the where are they going?
What do they need innocents for? Better. What do we think about that? Let me go back the other way. David, what does Andy think? In effect, it's what lead do you want for next time? I guess,
Yeah. I guess my/Andrew's thought is if these people are if these innocents are being sort of taken off somewhere, are they kind of doing the changeling thing? Are they either brainwashing them or sending FAE impersonators back in their place?
Okay, I get that. So you could answer that. What do they need the innocents for? Yeah, okay. Let me just go then back to Gunn. What's your feeling about that operational objective? Does that fit with where you want to go?
Yeah, figuring out where they take people. I mean, maybe they took some of my comrades. Also, I really, really want to see what that dirty politician has to do with it.
Okay. And let's ask Brandon stroke Jesusita, does that operational objective work for you?
Absolutely. Especially against the possibility that Lev is still alive.
Because we're all interested in missing people, aren't we?
If they're not slaughtering the innocents or doing something else permanent with them, then there's the possibility that some of them may exist somewhere. Maybe they've been spirited off to Fairy
and if they
can be rescued.
Precisely. What about Mark stroke Will? Are we that still works for you, all of that?
Yeah, all still works for me. It's another thread to pull,
Okay. So with that in mind then, now each of you can frame an investigative scene to add some detail to this operation that we've just kind of outlined. So let me start with Jesusita. Jesusita, how do we see Jesusita trying to add to the briefing? What scene do you want to frame that would allow you to add some detail to this?
This circus travels and she has she is sitting in front of a computer, and she is pulling up news story after news story of correlating anything, unusual events that surround the locations where the circus has come, and just prior. And she is finding a number of suspicious, minor suspicious articles, just odd occurrences, not necessarily anything. I mean, some.
Well, let's wait and see how the investigation goes.
All sorts of things go. She is doing what she does best, which is sifting through huge amounts of data and spotting the needles in the haystack.
Connections. She probably has a
Yes.
Miro board all her own. So I'm going to give you insight as your expertise that applies. So I think you're rolling. Can everybody see the dice roller, just to be on the safe side before we?
Yes.
The link is in the lines and veils tab. So you're rolling the middle dice, that grey dice in the middle. You're rolling the orange expertise dice. You can include the stress dice if you'd like it.
And this is something to gain intel. Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Depending on how well you do, you can ask me 1 or 2 questions or declare 1 or 2 details.
Okay, I won't add the stress die right now because I haven't had a chance to blow off.
I've just realized your stress cannot be used currently. Sorry, you're just rolling the middle dice.
Okay.
I will
because of the ring.
you,
Yeah.
though, that let's talk. Sorry, let's talk. Yeah, we need to pin down Dr. Brown and the ring before I get into this, don't I?
Yes.
What are you going to do with the ring? Because as long as you've got it, as long as somebody's got it, you are not going to be able to use your expertise. So what's the plan for the ring? Jesusita, you took it.
Yes.
I'll give you first suggestion.
Drop it in the volcano. It's a joke.
I think there's an indoor ski slope in Manchester.
Iceland's not that far away, is it?
Okay.
So
No
Mark
problem.
is prepared to become the ring bearer.
Yes.
Be my guest.
So
as long as I
Mark,
can be rid of this thing.
Change your expertise from available to not available, and Jesusita, flip it back the other way. I also noticed this point that Gunn, you are currently unable to use your expertise. If you check out the other rules and how you can spend intel, you can spend intel at any time to recover your expertise if you want to.
So there's no possibility of going to some sort of doctor and get stitched up.
You can seek relief from the horror if you want to reduce your stress.
Yep.
But it is the focusing on the stuff that you know. You will have been patched up or you'd be dead, kind of thing.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. So will you spend intel just to get that expertise back?
Sure. There is no other way to get it back, right? So of course I will.
Well, until stress, if stress went up, it would. So you could wait for stress to go up. No, okay. So
So you could seek relief from the horror to get your stress to go down.
And so on. Yeah, exactly. So let's have you roll to investigate then, Jesusita. You're rolling the central dice, you're rolling the orange expertise dice. You said you didn't want to include the stress dice, so roll those 2 and see what happens. Oh, will you look at that, a 6?
It's a 6.
You succeed brilliantly. The minimum information, I think, is yes, there are a number of suspicious events that tend to track around the country around this circus. Yeah. But you can either ask me 2 questions or declare 2 details about this. What do you want to have discovered?
I'm going to I'm going to declare that this circus has a very unusual act in it, which involves members of the audience being brought up and put in a chair to have their fortunes read with astonishing accuracy. And the chair is all decked out with sort of, sparkling electrical, effects and things like that, and somewhat cheesy looking, sound effects and production values and things like that. But there's something that strikes me oddly about it. That this isn't just some ordinary carnival thing.
Okay, look, I tell you what, let's leave it at that. I will come back to you for your second question when I've been around everybody else, so you can build on the collective. But yes, because you rolled a 6, you get intel. But also because you rolled a 6, the kind of reach of the conspiracy into these small towns around the country is a concern. So roll for stress, please. So roll the stress die. If it's higher than your current stress will go up by 1.
It's not. Cool. I'm already too frightened.
Chewie is cool. Okay, let's move along to Gun then. Gun, how do we see you doing some prep for this operation and contributing to the briefing so you're not going in blind?
I mean, this is circus, right? They have a probably Ferris wheel or something like that, and they need lightning, right? Lightning would probably be a bit tad overblown, but so what I do is I try to get myself in as some sort of technician, just worm my way into the scenery and have a look, see who's who and who's what and stuff like that.
So wherever they are setting up, we see you sneaking in there to find out stuff.
Not really sneaking. I'm just ambling, and if there are always tech problems, right? Because it's that's the way of tech. And then just offering a helping hand, and just like I'm just walking here, and I know I'm good with this stuff, and.
Okay, no, that works for me. So you're rolling with technical expertise. So it's the middle dice, the orange dice. You can add the stress dice if you'd like to increase your chance of success.
No, thank you. I like my chances of success that way. It's the orange one, right?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh,
wow, it's
6s.
a 6.
You guys are just are slaying me. So with a 6, that goes really well. And yes, they have a number of effects, a number of technical effects. Now, do you want to find out something about those technical effects, or do you want to use the cover that this gives you to find out other stuff?
I think I'd like to use that cover just to get, I'd like to get lay of the land and stuff like that stands out, right? To get stuff that stands out.
I mean, would you settle for the layout of the circus, so you know where stuff is?
I mean, I don't need to be a special agent to get the layout of a circus, right? That seems a bit
okay. So
because it doesn't give me any mechanical advantages in the future.
Okay, so exactly what are you wanting then?
I want to find out, do I get to invent some details myself?
You can invent some details.
Oh, fine.
2 details, or ask me a question. do one of them now and I'll come back round to you.
Yeah, okay. So the detail that I'm suggesting here is that there is a wagon and it's not connected to any generator. It's almost like they don't have electricity in that wagon at all. That is strange, right? Isn't it? And nobody goes near there, and they don't tell me. I mean, I'm the new guy, and I'm not asking a lot of questions.
Well, let me be clear.
Yeah.
You are not on the staff, right?
No.
You have wandered by, and you've just, as they're setting up, you're looking unobtrusive and just trying to learn something about what's going on. If you want to insert yourself in, we'll do that at the start of the operation. Okay. So there's a wagon that isn't connected. What's suspicious about it then?
That it isn't connected. I mean, wagon, no electricity. That's weird, right? That's strange.
Okay.
Maybe you even have an an EM scanner, and you notice that there's no electronic noise coming from the thing, like a computer or television would make.
Yeah, nothing. I mean, they couldn't run it anyway. Television doesn't run on faith.
Okay.
I mean, could.
Yeah. So there's a wagon that isn't connected to the electric system, and there's nothing electrical on it. Does that sum it up? Yeah. Okay. You do mark intel because you rolled a 6, so you pick up some other stuff that will become clear to us all later. But
you need to roll for stress, right?
That is freaky. Yeah, because there appear to be some lights on the outside of this, but where's it getting the power from?
I don't care. That's not scary at all. I've rolled a 1.
There you go. That's all good. Let's go along to Andy. Andy, how do we see you fleshing out the briefing?
Yeah, I think Andy is looking into this politician who we know is going to be present at the circus. And I think that the I'm just thinking how I want to phrase it. Yeah, I think the detail I want to add. Oh, sorry, I suppose I need to roll for this. But yeah, so I think I think what we see Andy doing is sort of combing through. Again, similar really to Jesusita, sort of combing through press releases and their kind of constituency website and all this sort of thing. Getting details on what their interests are, why they might be here, all that sort of thing.
Fine. Let's have you roll with research as your expertise, I think, sounds like. So
yeah,
you're rolling,
sure thing.
The middle dice, the orange dice, the stress dice, if you'd like to. I mean, your stress is 1, Andy. I mean, you're just, home free at the minute.
Yeah, I'll throw the stress dice in there just to prime the pump, as it were.
And fine, you got a 5, so you get to declare a detail. I'll give you the basic information. Will you tell me, what's the reputation of this politician? Straight, liked, populist, bit shady.
I think their general vibe is like not a kind of surname in the Nationals level of recognition, but I think they are actually a minister, junior minister maybe. And I think their reputation is maybe I think they maybe have a slightly shady rep.
Okay, so
nothing kind of again, nothing egregious, nothing hugely out there, but yeah, they're kind of a mover and shaker type.
More behind the scenes than up at the front. Okay. Do you want to give him a name or shall I?
I'm happy for you to give them a name because I don't have one immediately off the top of my head. So
let's call him Giles Saverly. Junior minister with shady reputation, Giles Savory. I'm going to Savory. I'll never get that L in. Savory. I don't think we've got an MP called Giles Savory. Hopefully, there will not be a lawyer's letter on its way. So that's the basic information, and you can now declare something about him or related to him or connecting him to the circus if you want. I will tell you that he attended the circus at his constituency as well as planning to attend it here in Manchester.
Yeah. I think yeah, I think the fact that I'm going to declare is that I think that this is that he is not here for like a public appearance. This isn't like he's opening the circus or anything like this. He is going to be here relatively incognito, and I think we've just kind of chanced across the fact that he was going to be here in a kind of an aside mention somewhere else.
So this is a private visit I've added.
Yep.
Okay. So who knows whether his security will be with him. I'm not quite sure how those rules of ministerial security apply, but we'll find out. Let's go back round to Mark. Mark, how do we see you trying to flesh out this briefing?
Oh, well, I spend a point of intel to Giles Savory as part of the Black Lodge.
Well, you don't have to spend intel for that. You could contact your anchor, your contacts, and try and just declare that as a detail. You get to frame a scene. I'll come round to you again to see if you want to spend any intel for more. Okay,
yeah, but I just wanted to do that off the bat, just to recognize him immediately and just say, oh, Giles, Sir Giles, I've done many a job for Mr. Savory in the past.
Okay, I mean, if you want to use intel now, I won't stop you. I'll still ask you to phrase an operational scene.
Oh, yes, yeah. But I mean, I was hoping to do that quickly and then move on to an operational scene, if that makes sense, not to have it require and just say, oh, Sir Savory, right, and then go on to do more, if that makes sense.
So you don't
I'm not sure if I'm understanding how intel works in briefings, because we do the questions to establish details, but I can also spend intel to do it,
then
right?
I'll come round to each of you in turn to see how you want to spend intel if you do.
Okay, it's just because that was my I guess well, exactly. I'll spend the intel to do that, because that's going to set up my thing, which is that as a member of the Black Lodge, I know that he's probably got some lodge members with him as his security. It won't be an official thing. It will be more members of the Black Lodge. So let me do my investigation to see whether or not I can find out who they are and so forth,
So you don't currently have access to your expertise, so it doesn't matter really how you come at this. So you're just rolling the middle dice and the stress dice if you want it.
Of course I want it.
Running headlong. And look at that.
That's a 6 into the stress.
So stress automatically goes up by 1, but you get to declare 2 details, and you've just told me one of them, I think, which is that the Black Lodge will provide Giles Savory with security. Yeah? I'll come back to you for a second question in a bit, or a second detail. But your intel goes up by 1 for rolling the 6. And but knowing that the you were suspicious that the Black Lodge was involved with this conspiracy, this seems to confirm that. So would you roll for stress? Oh no, stress has already gone by 1. Forget about that. Fine. Round we go again to Chewy. You had a second detail to declare or question to ask. What's your preference?
Let's see. The purpose of this operation is to find out what they need innocence for. So obviously we can't go there yet. I'm going to say that the people whose fortunes are told, they're not the same afterwards. The differences are something you'd only notice if you paid very close attention.
So it's not that they go missing.
No, they're not that they go missing. It's that they have a strikingly high incidence of things like divorce, or abandoning their, running out on their children, or leaving their, running away if they're children, older children, things like that. Okay. No, there are no young children involved in this, but they have a lot of odd life events. Nothing like becoming sick or being in the hospital or something like that. But it seems the experience changed them.
What I've written down is that the subjects are changed afterwards, including sometimes leaving jobs, family, etc.
Correct.
Okay.
And a strikingly high number of them have done so, or have made other drastic changes in their life arrangements, picked up and moved, to quit their jobs, etc.
Oh, changed. Yeah, fine, got that. Don't define it too tightly, or you'll restrict our options.
Yes.
Let's go to Gun. You have a second detail or question to declare, Gun. What do you want to add?
I think I want to add that this circus has a weird, I think, collection of animals. Not like they have lions or tigers or bears but they have a stag for some reason. They do have a stag. They have. I've seen foxes run around there. They seem to be half tame. They get fed sausages anyway. Bunnies, of course. Bunnies, lots of bunnies. It's weird, and and some of them start trying even to follow people when they leave, but the circus people, of course, don't allow them to hop or run or whatever after visitors.
So let me, what I've written is, circus has unusual selection of animals, including foxes, stags, etc., who seem interested in following the customers home.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
Fine. Like that. And I think I also owe Mark a second question or detail.
Yeah. The circus has the Masked Marksman.
Say it again.
As one of its the Masked Marksman as one of its things. And guess who could step into that role?
Including someone called the Masked Marksman.
Yeah.
And is that a kind of position of rank in the Black Lodge, or is it a?
No, it's the circus act.
Oh,
he's the Masked Marksman. He shoots things out of the air. He does precision shots, throws knives at the board, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And he wears this very like ornate mask that completely obscures his features.
I see. I'm with you.
You can see where I'm going with that one.
I think I am. So the a performer, in fact. Yeah. Okay. Spot on. Okay. We are a bit after the odds, but could we be back in our seats at 1:15? And I will pause the recording now. Okay, we're back from our break. Before we get into the operation, I want to just go once around the team, just to see if anybody does want to spend intel on anything. Specifically, do you want to spend intel to declare an obstacle that you look cool overcoming? So let me start with Jesusita. I'm not quite certain how much intel you've got to play with. Not a great deal, but some. Do you want to declare an obstacle, or because the way this works is that I will add a complication, 1 per operator. So I've got 4 to play with. If you declare an obstacle, you spending your intel, then that's 1 less complication for me to throw at you.
Oh, but it's still the same number of complications, right? It's just I get to spin it instead of
you get to define it. Hopefully, something that you look cool, overcoming. Just so we're clear, the other use for intel during an operation is to declare something around the supernaturals. So you've got a better chance of overcoming them, I guess.
with just 2 intel. I think I'll hold off.
Okay, fine. Let's move along to Gun. Do you want to declare an obstacle, or do you want to hang on to your intel for later?
I mean, I would like to reduce my stress because that's also something that intel can be used for, right?
It is.
And since we're going right into the operation, the way I'm reading it,
I will just check that if any of you want to seek relief from the horror before we launch. But yeah.
I think, I mean, I want to do both, to be frank. I want to do both. I want to reduce my stress,
Okay.
and I want to declare an obstacle that I can overcome.
Well, that
and
would
look
use
cool.
up both intel if you want to.
That's fine. I mean, that's there to be used, isn't it? So I will reduce my stress by 1 point, and then I will declare the obstacle. And I think the obstacle is some sort of, they have some sort of guardian who's maybe a half giant or something like that. He's huge. He's freaking huge. He's freaking strong, but maybe he's not a special forces agent, right? So
Is this a supernatural guardian? Because you said kind of giant there, and I immediately jumped to the idea that this was a supernatural.
if it's supernatural, I can still overcome it, right?
Oh yeah. It might be immortal or regenerative, but everything's possible.
Yeah, I'll leave that up to you, but I want some huge guy that I can look cool at wrestling or throwing around a little. Or not, depending on the dice.
Okay, some sort of huge, strong guardian who will need to be beaten down. Yeah? Anybody else want to spend any intel either to reduce stress at this point or to declare an obstacle? Let's keep going along to Andy.
I think, yeah, I would like to I would like to spend a point of intel. I want I think I definitely think that there is going to be I'm trying to think of a good way of phrasing this. Like, yeah, no, I think we'll go with that. I think I want there to be a something like a hall of mirrors that's like kind of in some way important to what's going on, or important to where we have to go. But yeah, definitely some sort of like encounter in the hall of mirrors.
Okay. Because that just looks so good on screen, doesn't it? And finally, round to Mark. Mark, do you want to spend any intel to declare a detail that you will look cool overcoming?
Yeah.
Or indeed to reduce your stress.
I mean, I think, to be honest, I kind of already have really. The obstacle that I wanted to overcome more than anything is that I wanted to, kill some people who deserve it as much as I do, which is the Black Lodge people.
Okay. So if you spend intel, I will guarantee you a confrontation with members of the Black Lodge. Yeah?
Yes. And if David hadn't said that, I'd be like, in the House of Mirrors.
Well, you know, there is no reason why these two things cannot be in some way connected.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to go with that.
It's I'm going to say Gustav is the name of the one that I recognize particularly, just to throw one out there for you, you know.
A member of the Black Lodge. Fair enough. Well, that leaves me with but a single complication. I mean, goodness me, how ungenerous of you all. Is there anyone who does want to seek relief from the horror before we start the operation? Gunn is up for this. If you check out the Seek Relief from the Horror, you can see that there's a variety of ways you can seek solace. You can seek guidance, you can behave badly, or indulge a vice. What are you interested?
I just wanted to mention, because Sabine said it at the end of last session, something about Mark shooting her in the back, shooting Gunn in the back. But
I haven't forgotten that.
Cool.
I will totally seek solace and comradeship with you.
Okay, so this is Seek Solace in Comradeship. If you reveal something new about your history with an operator you care most or least about. So what, and there are some prompts there, first recollection, blah, blah, blah. So what are you recollecting, Gunn?
I think I recollect the time when basically they saved me by shooting me in the back.
Okay. Do you want to add anything to that?
We should maybe give that a little context why this was a good thing instead of.
I'm curious, I have to say.
Me too.
Like I said at the time, you know, you couldn't see him, but he had the knife and he was about to come, and you know, he didn't so much shoot you in the back as I shot him in the back, and it went through. I promise you, he had a knife.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I guess even if he hadn't had a knife, he was behind me. I hadn't seen him. My ears were still ringing from the explosions. So you can't totally claim that you shouted, but I didn't hear it. So.
Oh no, I didn't shout. That would have spoiled the shot.
Yeah.
Well, now before we get too far into the recollection, let's reduce stress by 1 and roll the d6 to see how whether Mark has a profoundly different recollection of these events.
Oh yeah. Yeah, okay. So I will roll a d6. Which one? Is there a special one I need to roll?
Take your pick. On this one, I think the responsibility can be all yours.
Okay. I'm rolling.
Whichever one moves, we'll take it.
It's a 4.
A 4. So 4 plus. They roll for stress as they recollect a slightly different version of that event. Agree with them why they feel so hurt by it, or they choose to add something about their anchor to the recollection that highlights how important their anchor is to them. They mark their anchor.
Well, you know, my mentor had told me, wonderful man, knows everything about firearms, explosives, poisons, blades, all kinds of wonderful things. But, you know, he taught me that, you know, the kinetic force of a low caliber bullet, such as I was using, was almost 99% likely to not penetrate you and leave a messy exit wound. At the very least, at the very worst, it was going to do what it did, which was lodge in your lower back. Simple trip to the doctors and it would be fine.
So I'm going to mark your anchor as now a target of the conspiracy. I think that we will see someone probably at the Black Lodge agreeing the detail to protect Giles Savory. And somebody says, whatever happened to Gattis? Has anybody heard anything from him recently? I do like to keep track of that man. He's now subject to an investigation by the conspiracy. Anybody else want to seek relief from the horror? Because that went very well for Gunn.
I need to roll for stress, don't I? Oh no, because I marked my anchor, didn't I?
No, you marked your contact.
Marked your anchor instead.
Course, yeah, sorry, I forgot.
I'm going to seek relief from the horror.
In what way?
By you're telling me that she's going to the circus.
Sorry, I missed the first bit of that. I think you cut out just momentarily.
By my daughter telling me that she's going to the circus.
Oh, to this circus. Oh my, okay.
with her friend, with some of her friends.
Okay.
And my being unable to dissuade her because there's no rational basis why she shouldn't go.
Fine. So so I will mark Rosa as a target.
Yes.
You still get to roll a d6, even though there is only one result for this, apart from
Yes.
if it comes up as a 6.
Nope, it's just a 5. So
So stress goes down by 1. Rosa is now under the bus, waiting to be crushed. Okay. What about Andy? Are you looking to seek relief from the horror, or you're just too cool to?
Yeah,
to
no. I did not accrue much stress last time, so as much as I would like to engage with some of these moves, there is very little point at this stage.
Enough said.
Well,
Enough said.
I would like to engage in seek relief from the stress with Andy, in fact.
Oh right. So
Yes.
so you want to reveal something about Andy? If only to drive up his stress.
Yes, exactly. You got exactly what my secondary objective there was. So
Let's rock Andy's world then. So
yeah. My first recollection of them. Well, you were rather good at your job, weren't you, Mr. Detective Lamb? You got very close to the conspiracy, and of course, I got very close to you. Not that you saw me. So shall I roll?
reduce stress by 1 and roll a d6.
That is a 4.
Andy, you roll for stress as you recollect a slightly different version of that event. So that event, I think, was a flashback to Mark Shearwright lining up a crosshairs on you at some point.
As you were talking to, like parents, lovers, etc., like about tracking down these missing people, and I'd kind of been assigned to just to make sure you didn't get too close.
So you can change that recollection from your point of view and roll for stress, or choose to involve your anchor and mark them.
No, I think I'm absolutely going to roll for stress on this and recall this slightly differently. So I think
could I throw it out there that I thought that I was so impressed by the way that you spoke to those people. You really touched them, like you reassured them, you gave them hope, Mr. Lamb. It was obvious even from 500 meters away.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I like that. I think that we get that that point where sort of from your perspective, maybe see that just the finger easing off the trigger. But yeah, I think just to make it to give it that sort of thread of being slightly different to what the way you saw it or the way you perceived it, certainly. I think we kind of get that moment where Andy's sort of in conversation with his people, we just see him kind of glance over, but from the corner of his eye we just see that kind of like very slight, like just reflected light coming from the window where you're set up, sort of thing. And there's it's one of those, it looks almost like a kind of thing where he just kind of steps towards, sort of, puts a hand on the shoulder of the person he's talking to and just like moves sort of them away slightly from the line of fire.
That's fine. So roll for stress then.
Yep, certainly. Oh, on this roll, so I've forgot. Is it just if it is above or
yes.
Equal to what? So
right.
So yeah, it is. Yep. So
there is a chance that
there is a
will
chance
keep your
that
cool.
Yep. I do not.
It was a small chance.
Yeah.
Stress goes up a bit, but it's about time, frankly, Andy,
that
you began to break sweat.
Perhaps that's the remembering, right? Is that the sort of like, oh shit, there really was someone there. Like
exactly.
Alan, should I have spent a point of intel if I'm putting Rose at the circus?
Yes, you should have. Sorry.
Okay, so I'll do that. That's because then she's my complication too.
And we've still got a bit of intel to play with in operation. So let's now cut to the circus. I suppose because Rosa is attending, therefore this is the evening of the circus. So we've set the time as evening. Where do I see Gun as the operation opens?
I think he's still hanging around because he's probably told these guys he's been laid off and just things are hard, and if he can get a bit of work done, if he can do a bit of work and have a bit of, I don't know, money or even I don't know, a
Well,
coupon.
Go on. Let's see how they react. Maybe they offer him some work. I don't know. Let's see how well you can present that cover to them, shall we? So roll to maintain your cover. I'm going to give you expertise because of your technical expertise. I think you can talk the talk.
Yeah, I can. I know that. I mean, I'm not. Gunn knows he's not a great talker, but he'll try to seek into the hole. And that spark plug is broken, by the way, and you should fix them. You probably need me.
So the 2 dice, stress dice, if you want to add it in.
Nah, I'm good. Good with 2 dice. I hope. Hopefully, I am.
Oh, brilliant!
I'm brilliant with 2 dice.
So on a 6, what it says is you succeed brilliantly. Control will agree with you what extra benefit you get. Do you want to be employed while they're here?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so you're an employee. So there you go. Mark Intel.
Yeah, and I also have to roll for stress, right?
Because you're on the inside now.
Yeah.
Difficult to get out from the inside.
Oh yeah.
There it goes.
I think the stressful thing actually is that before they employ me, they make me say a thing, and I don't understand what I'm saying there because it's some language I don't know. And they make me say it, and when I say it, it's like, ugh, like you have a snail on your tongue. It feels weird.
I haven't asked you this yet, Gunn. How does stress manifest for Gunn? How does the audience know that Gunn is feeling it a little?
I think he gets more sort of paranoid, like very, very alert, very alert. I think this is the constant looking about.
Hyper alert.
Yeah.
Okay, go on. Yeah. Fill that in there just for an aid memoir. And how does the audience know, Andy, that sang-froid, that icy calm of the British detective just cracked a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's just that kind of as you know, Mark kind of walks away. I think we just kind of see that you know, a bit of a kind of an eye twitch, and you know, one of his fists is maybe like kind of just tightened up into a fist, and just kind of like you know, relaxes as Mark leaves.
Fine. If you want to put something in the manifest as just as an aid memoir, it'd be helpful. Thank you, Jesusita. Nervous laughter, smiling, fear grin. Mark, I'm curious about you. How does stress manifest?
It's a hard one for me to come to, given the character, right?
Exactly, and certainly Mark wouldn't admit this, but the audience will spot something. What does the audience spot?
I think the audience spots that his eyes flicker around constantly. You know, like he's otherwise got a very, you know what? He blinks.
Fine.
He doesn't normally blink. He doesn't normally blink much at all, frankly, creepily so.
Okay.
But yeah.
So put that in that slot in the character keeper, just as aid memoir. So Gunn, where do you want to be then? You're an employee, so you know, you're temporary on the staff. Where do you want to be as we open?
I want to be near that weird wagon without electricity. I mean, I'm obviously not very useful there, but I'm loitering a bit. I mean, and I'm being followed by a bunny for some reason.
Okay, one of the gimmicks is that, you know, as people are streaming, in my mind's eye, I have lots of attractions and fairground attractions and stalls in an avenue running up to the entrance to the tent. And currently that's thronged with people who haven't yet gone into the tent for the show, buying candy floss and burgers and throwing badly weighted balls at impossible to knock off coconuts and the like, while you know, people in clown makeup wander around among the crowd, of course. But yes, this is located slightly away from this kind of this thoroughfare. So it's behind these stalls, which is where we find Gun. Andy, where do we see you as we open the operation?
Yeah, I think we see Andy is today dressed quite casually, just sort of like in a pair of jeans, and I think is wearing a city shirt, and yeah, is you know, buying a ticket, and I think, yeah, is kind of making his way towards the big top.
Fine. Through the crowds, he won't be the only person wearing a Manchester City shirt, I have a suspicion, but there'll be a fair number of reds as well.
Yeah.
You know, studiously avoiding one another as you make your way towards the big top. Fair enough. I am going to mark heat because every time you enter a conspiracy location, heat goes up by 1. So you're on site. What about Mark? Where do we see Mark as our operation opens?
This may be too much as a framing thing, but following the Masked Marksman with his bag of stuff as he goes back from Manchester Gun Club from a day at the shooting range. He's going to kill him and take the mask.
On site. He's
okay,
so you,
cool.
So you need to find him if you want to follow him. Yeah.
And then that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Okay. So let's have you
just to put the goal out there. Is the idea is that I take his place. You know.
So you need to work out where he's changing, where his caravan is. I guess. Yeah. So you want to ask me some questions, so that's investigate. And you don't have access to your expertise, so it really doesn't matter. So you're just rolling the middle dice, stress dice if you want it.
Of course. That's a 4.
That's a 4
on the normal dice.
So you can identify which caravan it's in. Yeah. We'll worry about what you're going to do with that piece of information shortly. Let me go to Jesusita then. Where do we see you as we open?
I think that Jesusita is loitering in the area of the fortune-telling chair, whether that's in the big tent or whether that's a separate attraction.
The sense I got was that was going to be part of the show.
That's part of the show. Okay. Have the audience started to come into the tent for the show?
Yeah, well, I think Andy's in the queue, you know, heading towards the big top. So...
Okay. She has spotted someone who is clearly indicating audience members surreptitiously.
Okay, so let's have you roll to investigate to see where that exactly what you see.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with insight. Seems generally applicable to this. So you're rolling with expertise, stress dice if you want it. God, you lot, you're just killing me. You succeed brilliantly. So you can identify them And I think I'm going to offer you the additional bonus of you can spot a handful of people that they have marked. And it's almost like, I think they've got an earphone, and you can see them kind of see someone, and you could almost lip read, girl, blue dress, red hair, and then middle-aged man, baseball cap, Manchester City shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll give you that as your basic and your benefit. What two things do you want to ask? Or, I mean, you don't have to ask two questions, but they're available to you.
What do I want to ask? I'm trying to think of something where I haven't already blown the leader on it. So it's either going to, so one question is either going to be, Jesusita is concerned that these people that are being put in the chair, that something's actually happening to them that no one knows what it is. And so her two two things to try to, her two indications that she would occur to her is that to try and, she wants to at least learn what's going on about this process. If not, to both learn what's going on about this process and to maybe foil it a little bit.
Okay.
And so,
hang on. Then let me break it down into bits. Then, so do you want to tell me what everyone that this spotter is highlighting has in common?
I could. Is that one of my questions?
Well, it's just I'm trying to break down what you want into a bite-sized piece I can give you.
Oh, okay. What they have
because you want to know what's going on, and I'm trying to think of the stepping stones to working out what's going on. So one thing would be to identify if they got anything in common. That's where I'm going with it.
Yes,
but don't be bound by that. Ask
I don't know what they. I don't know what they have in common. I was thinking that there's something about there's something about the apparatus itself, or there's some way for her to get to where they.
I think the difficulty is that you can do that once you get sight of it, but at the minute I've got you in the crowd approaching the big top.
Okay.
I'm just trying to work with the fictional positioning I've got.
Yes, I understand, and I'm trying.
Well, look, put it to one side. I mean, doesn't matter. We'll ignore the roll.
That seems a shame. So what's what do they have in common is they all seem to be there with a blood relative.
Okay. Fine. I can work with that. And is there anything else that you want to ask me about? Or so that's one thing that might explain why they're being selected.
Yeah, well, I think this correlates. I think I know that they're being selected for the fortune telling, because it correlates with the other the victims that I knew about before.
It does.
Okay.
Now
They're all not necessarily with a blood relative. They're all there. They all seem to have some close relationship.
Okay.
I'm not going to necessarily, so it might be husband and wife kind of thing, but there's no people who are by themselves or just with friends, or things like that.
No, that's fine. Let's not get any tighter than that. You mark intel because you rolled a 6. You're also going to roll for stress because what you notice is they pick out Rosa.
Yes.
Who is there with a blood relative? Though, does she
Yes.
know that she's there with a blood relative? Have you told her you're going too?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So,
It was going to be a
so Rose has
surprise,
been picked out.
So, and stress goes up.
Okay, so I've got Andy and Jesusita going into the big top for the show. I've got Mark has identified where the Masked Marksman is located, and I've got Gunn loitering near another a separate truck. Mark, what do we see you as you try to get? Describe to me what you're going to do.
Oh, knock on the door. Just immediately push in, step in, and stab him in the throat.
Confront the conspiracy in its pawns. Go ahead.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that sounds like assassinating someone, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. So you're rolling the middle dice. You don't have your expertise currently.
Yeah. Should we have chosen load at this point?
I was assuming you were all lightly loaded, but no, you're quite right. Yeah. Because certainly Andy and Jesusita, who are trying to look like members of the public, will be lightly loaded. Gunn, you could be medium loaded if you wanted to be.
Of course, I mean, I'd not got to have tools, right? I mean, I'm a...
Okay, so by all means, be medium loaded. Mark, I assumed you were traveling light, but don't.
I think now that I think about the question, one of the things is that if I can take his mask, I could be medium loaded without it rising attention because he has all of his different guns and tools and things that he uses in this act. So yeah.
So Mark, medium loaded.
Yeah.
So you don't have expertise to play with. Do you want to include your stress dice? And you will have to roll the top risk dice as well.
Yes.
Just in case he stabs you in the face.
Yeah. I look at that taser and I'm like, should I take the taser? Because that would make more sense in such things. I'm like, no, Mark would just kill the guy. So it's part of the circus. And what can I say? I'm channeling my Peter Skellin. So top failure dice as well.
Ouch.
That is a 6 on the insight dice as well, though.
It is. So stress goes up by 1. You succeed brilliantly. Yeah. So you will take him out, but you are at risk of a consequence because his risk dice is equal to or higher than yours. So would you just roll a d6 so I can work out what the harmful consequence is?
That was a 3.
1 to 3. The consequences are dire. Agree with the GM if it is mortal. Fill your stress track and crack. It's bloody and you will die without immediate medical treatment. Painful and you cannot use your expertise until you get medical treatment as above. Well, you can't use your expertise anyway, so.
I mean, if I'm allowed to take painful, I would take painful, I suppose.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, then you know, and he grabs it, right? And we're wrestling on the floor to kick the door shut behind me. And he's holding it for a second. And then and he's pulling it back towards me. And then I just like suddenly let my other hand loose and then just grab the blade by the blade and then twist and stab him with it instead. But my hand's all like, you know.
Mark Shearwright is the Masked Marksman for tonight. But I think probably fictionally, I'm going to have the risk of a blood trail or that wound could become apparent. Yeah?
Yes.
So, Andy and Jesusita, you're enjoying the show along with, several hundred other people, including Giles Savory, who is sitting over there on his own, but surrounded by a group of people who look a bit handy, a bit professional. And do you just want to wait for the mysterious chair? Andy, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I was certainly more here in kind of observation mode. So yeah, I haven't, unless something, you know, dire starts happening, I'm content to sit and watch for the time being.
Okay. Let me think. No, I'll stick with that. What about Jesusita?
Now that I know that Rose has been picked, I'm going to try to take her place somehow.
Okay.
I'm going to basically try to inconvenience her at the appropriate time and take her spot.
Okay. So let's cut to that then. Yeah.
Yes.
Mark, you can be anywhere as the Masked Marksman. Do you want already to have done your act when we get to this point, or do you want to be the next act on?
The next act on.
Fine. So you're in the wings, and what does the person who's running this kind of fortune telling act look like? Because we know there's this very grand kind of pyramid with a great grand chair on it, decked out in all this cheesy kind of effects. What does the person doing the act look like?
Yeah, so I think we've got this kind of the whole like electricity and stuff around the thing. I think that they're in kind of like full on, you know, sort of like steampunk Victoriana type get up. They've got the big top hat and yeah, they've probably got some like smoked safety goggles sort of riding up on their forehead at the moment, and yeah.
Great. The Marvellous Mercurio, ladies and gentlemen. Gunn, you're still watching this truck. I'm curious about what your objective is, or are you just waiting for something to happen?
Yeah, basically, I mean, the others, we have ear thingies,
Yeah,
right?
you're in
So
comms.
the others are all at the big top. So I figure I keep just an eye out to see what's going on. I mean, if people are herded toward the fortune teller, I don't know how close by that is, but you know, I can always find something to repair or.
Oh, you can loiter there. I want, because you're employed.
Yeah.
I'm not going to interfere with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna play with the not play, but I'm gonna kind of pet the bunny because it's there, and it's I'm a bit stressed, not much, but that's a nice bunny.
I suppose I'm curious whether you're going to try and get into that van. You see, that truck. That's all I'm putting on the table. Think about it. Think about it.
I mean, if the evening wears on, nothing happens, I will. But you know, I'm trying to be professional here and wait until the shit hits the fan and Mark tries to murder someone in public space or something. And yeah.
Okay. So Jesusita, I think there comes a point in the act where the Marvellous Mercurio is saying, and I think somewhere in the audience, and he's kind of moving somewhere in the audience, there is someone, and he describes what your daughter is wearing. He says, could that person stand up? Because that seems to be the way that he selects his audience member. And he's been given this presumably by the spotter. And you see she kind of stands up very excitedly. How are you gonna save her from this, Chewie? How are you going to insert yourself into this act so she doesn't get into this act?
Having well, her having been selected, the only way I can think of to do it is to get her is to be there and talk to her, and get her to think it would be a really funny idea if her mother went up there.
She doesn't know you're here. She's coming down the steps towards the ring. You're sat over here, so you're going to have to get round there and just say, because she's in the crowd. You can't have that conversation. She doesn't know you're here. You're trying to be secret about this, I think, aren't you? Or do you just jump up and say, no, me?
Yes.
And rush towards the chair.
Pretend. Yes, I'll just pretend it was me that was picked. I
don't think I think that I think I need you to maintain your cover at this point. You know, just how suspicious does this look? So you've got tradecraft. I'll give you expertise. It's a stretch, but I'll give you expertise. Stress dice if you want it.
Yeah, I can't. I don't want to blow this one.
Oh,
but I did anyway.
You did blow it.
I blew it as hard as it can be blown.
It does look suspicious. And so I've marked heat. And Rosaria sees this woman on the other side through the light, on the other side of the kind of big lights, running towards the stage. And Rosario gets there first because she doesn't know it's you. And so she's already up the pyramid at the point at which it becomes clear you're not going to get there in time. So do you settle for that? Or do you do something, Chewie?
No.
Or Andy, what about you? You see, you know, Jesusita takes off.
Stop.
Do you intervene?
I think I will leave this to Jesusita for the moment, because kind of they've already, to an extent, blown their cover. Yeah.
Mark, you see this happening from the wings. Do you do anything?
No, because the only things I can think of to do will really blow everything.
Okay.
Yeah. I will, if someone loudly asks me to, clearly. You know, just to throw that out there to Jesusita.
Yeah, because
you scream that, Mark will take that as a, yeah.
She can't sit in that chair.
Mark, what do you do?
I stride out and I bow in front of the stage, right in front of everything. And then I turn around, flip my gun in the air, roll it around, and I shoot Mercurio in the face.
You only have one body part to aim for, don't you? Okay. Yeah. It is a minute past the hour. I'm going to suggest a 5-minute break, and we come back to resolve the chaos that will probably ensue. So is 5 past the hour? Is that long enough?
Yeah.
Fine. I'll pause the recording. Okay, we're back from a break, and we're just doing a slight rewind because Chewie's had second thoughts. So Chewie, what you're not going to get there. You've suggested you'd like to do something prior to calling on Mark to intervene. So what do you want to do?
Rosalia Ramirez, you are not going to get up in front of everyone and like in such a spectacle and embarrass your family. Spain's a good Catholic country.
I think that Rosario will at least pause. Gun, you know, you were kind of paying a bit of attention to the rabbit. A shadow streaks across the ground in front of you, and the rabbit is gone. What do you do?
A shadow, like a shadow.
Just a blur in the darkness.
Damn it. What was that?
There was a squeal, and it's gone.
Oh, well, that was my friend. No, that was not my friend, the rabbit. Absolutely not. But that was weird, right? But I think I get through the ear thingy. I get that there might be some trouble in Big Top, and I'm torn a little. But I think I want to follow up on what happened here with the rabbit, because I mean that's what we're here for.
So what do you do?
I mean, I've got fieldcraft. I follow.
Okay, right. Let's have you roll to investigate with fieldcraft expertise. See what you can find.
Not rolling
Stress
this.
if you want it.
No, I don't. I don't like stress.
Oh,
Wow,
a
I
pair
rolled
of
a double
ones.
one. Wow, that's yeah,
pretty
ouchie.
impressive.
Mhm.
It's kind of there's just I can't even think of a succeed at a cost here. It's just gone.
Yeah.
But there is something out there in the darkness.
And I imagine I've gone turn around a little. It's dark and it's confusing, and there should be lights, but somehow there aren't.
It's stuck to the shadows. You know, there is some light out here, but most of it's kind of from over there where the stalls are.
Mm-hmm.
And just a shadow in a shadow.
Huh.
Nothing.
Okay, I'm not playing wounded here. This is too creepy by half. I'm kind of retreating strategically
Towards the light?
Yeah, light at this point seems like a better idea instead of rushing, because the others are clearly busy with some stuff of their own, and they won't have my back. Yeah.
Okay, Gunn is walking towards the light. Andy, Giles Savory is no longer in his seat.
Can I? I'll quickly look around and see if I can pick up where he is.
You see one of his security leaving through one of the exits.
Sure. Yeah, I am going to inform the others, and I'm going to follow out that way.
Okay. Jesusita, I think Rosario is not going to defy her mother, particularly as you march across the ring, grab her by the wrist.
Yes.
And pull her away from the act, because I think that's where it'll take.
I think then that's what I'm going to do.
I'm going to mark. I've marked heat for that double one, but I'm also going to mark heat for the very obvious attention you've drawn to yourself. Okay.
Yep.
But you have. I will mark off that you have rescued Rosa. Gunn. You can hear from Andy that he's following Giles Savory out of the north exit. And I don't know where that shadow is, but
Okay, I'll give Andy a heads up and see if I can come from another angle.
Mark, you were going to be the next act on. Mercurio has moved on from Rosa. He's now describing somebody else in the crowd to draw them up. What do you want to do?
I was going to say, well, I was going to do face down the Black Lodge guys as part of the Masked Marksman's act, if that's possible.
And they just left with Giles Savory.
Yeah. I don't know what I could do in here, to be honest. You know what? I'm going to keep eyes on. I'm going to wait in the wings and keep eyes on Jesusita, because I know that she's just blown her cover completely here.
Okay. Because Mercurio, though he's continuing with the patter, you can see that he's following where Chewie is going. Rosa, are you Chewie? Are you staying in the big tent with Rosa, or are you picking up her friend and leaving?
No, well, where?
Because she's going, Mum, you made such a fuss.
I don't think it's you'd let other people volunteer to do strange things? What if he told you this? I don't think the Padre, I don't think, Father, Father Alvarez would think very well of you sitting in that thing and having someone tell strange things, purportedly about your future.
So are you staying in the tent, or are you leaving? Are you demanding Rosa leaves the tent with you, or what?
I think if I'm going to be useful, I'm going to have to get out of here.
Leaving her in the tent?
No, I'm going to take her out with me.
To where she'll be safe. Okay. Andy, you're following Giles and his security detail, his informal security detail. They're heading around the edge of the tent toward the big top, towards the attractions. And guess what? They're heading towards the Hall of Mirrors. Do you follow?
Yeah, I think I will call in and say, looks like they're headed into the Hall of Mirrors. It's going to be a bugger, but I'm going to try and follow them in there.
Gun?
Yeah, Hall of Mirrors it is. I love Halls of Mirrors.
So Gun, I'll meet you at the Hall of Mirrors.
No, it's more exasperated than that. It's like, I meet you at the Hall of Mirrors. Probably run into myself a few times before I do that.
You hear, you're a nervous chuckle over the intercom.
Chewie, are you heading in the same direction?
Yes. Once I've properly dumped my daughter.
Where are you dumping her?
She's with her friends. Yes.
Okay, just so don't go back in that.
She's with her friends. So what I'm going to find her. I'm going to find her most reliable friend, and bribe them to say, look, go have a good time, but don't let her volunteer for anything, for goodness sake.
Okay.
I can't believe this. Okay,
Mrs. Ramirez.
I look embarrassed. I look all embarrassed and things like that too.
And then you just disappear into the night.
And then,
like any good
well, yes, of course. Like I have a headache. I'm not going to enjoy myself. I will see you. I will talk to you on Tuesday, young lady.
And where are you heading? Might it be the Hall of Mirrors?
It might be the Hall of Mirrors, I think, yes.
Mark,
if I'm going to
we're keeping an eye on
Chewie.
Chewie just left. You've got 10 minutes more of this act before you're supposed to be on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it feels as though if I wait for my act, I'll miss all of the action. So let's head to the Hall of Mirrors.
Unless if you've got something, got a better idea, let me know.
Well, I mean, all of the targets that are applicable to Mark's set of skills have all wandered towards the Hall of Mirrors. So at the chair, I don't see how Mark can get in on that. You know what I mean? It's
yes,
I'm not in a position to do anything. So the Hall of Mirrors.
Yes,
it is.
No, I was hoping to do something and I blew it.
So Andy,
says Chewie.
You're first in.
Frankly.
Do you wait for Gun?
I don't think I'm going to wait for Gun. I think I'm going to start, because if nothing else, because the two of us entering at the same time will draw more attention.
Right. No, I just love the idea of all of you arriving in sequence separately in a Hall of Mirrors.
Of course.
So Andy, in you go. And it is the experience of Hall of Mirrors. Reflection on reflection on reflection. And you can hear there are other people in here, but quite where they are, and you work out do you just follow the path such as you can find?
Yes, I think so. I think I'm just going to kind of follow the path through to start with. I'm going to be trying to pay attention to, if I can, looking in mirrors before I go around the corner to see if I can see anyone else's reflection, and listening out for stuff. But broadly, I'm just going to follow the path and see what happens.
I mean, this is a very slow motion chase, so I think we'll use the move "stay with them."
Yep, sure.
Yeah? So when they are getting away and you have a way to stay up with them. So roll a d6 on the middle one. It's a foot chase, inverted commas. Do you have surveillance or tradecraft?
I do not, sadly.
So you have no expertise to play with here, and you can throw your stress dice in though to see if
I-
you can
I
try to
will.
track down
This-
Savory and his team.
This definitely feels like a stressful situation. I
Go
will
for it,
throw
then.
my stress dice in there.
It's okay. So yeah, you hear and you head in that direction. So you're still on Giles. Gun. Presumably, Andy, you're trying to not be heard as you try to sneak up on. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I may give the occasional very brief check-in, but yeah, I'm not doing like the kind of running commentary.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. So Gun, you're trying to find Andy in this hall of mirrors?
That there's lighting in the Hall of Mist Mirrors, right?
There is.
I mean, I could take out the lighting and then use my UV goggles that I conveniently brought with me to navigate the Hall of Mirrors, because then it will be totally fine. And if nobody sees anything, then the others should have brought UV goggles. I knew they had them.
So do you want to roll technical to do something else, i.e. screw with the lights?
Yeah, I'm screwing with the lights because or I could turn them up to the max. That would also be fun. Mostly for me, but not for the people inside. I think I'll have more of an advantage if I turn them off. Maybe turn them. I will tell Andy that I'm going to turn up the light and then turn them off. So be prepared.
Chewie, you're next in, trying to make your way through this, followed by Mark. So
Yes.
you're all in there at the point Gun says, I'm about to try and turn the lights up, and then they'll go out. So, Gun, let's have you roll with technical. Stress dice if you want it.
I mean, yeah, I think that can include stress now. That's fine. Let's go with the 3 dice. I mean, wow, yeah.
Wow, look at
Wow.
that. So 6.
2 6s.
The lights go very bright. And all of you see that one, it's been a long time in a hall of mirrors, but there's usually 3, 4, or 5 reflections as I remember it. And unlike, normally it's you, then you, then you, then you, then you, yeah, disappearing into the distance. When those lights go up bright, each of you will see that there's one of those panes in the distance that doesn't have you in it. There is something in here that is not reflecting at some point. Okay? And then the lights go out. So, Gun, we know you've packed a set of UV goggles.
Mm-hmm.
Andy, did you think to put one in your back pocket?
Yeah,
UV goggles or night vision goggles?
Are these IR goggles?
Yeah.
I can't remember what I called them, but they are.
Night vision goggles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that seems like a sensible thing to have brought, given the fact we knew we were going to a
circus at night.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Andy, that makes life simpler actually, because after that initial burst of light and what you saw, then the reflections disappear. But what you've got is a kind of shades of grey view of the world around you. And you can hear some panic now. What are you going to do, Andy?
Yeah, I think I'm going to move towards where I can hear that the kind of panic and confusion, and not like go to it, but move close enough that I can at least kind of see if I can see what's going on.
Well, you succeed brilliantly. The GM will agree with you what benefit you get. So I think you are up with them. Mark 1 intel. But you suddenly realize that you are on your own, in the sense of up close and personal to these guys. But roll for stress.
Sorry, is that because it was
Oh, it was gun. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Gun,
Yeah.
gun.
Yeah.
Gun. So you
made-
rolled all those
roll.
sixes. I beg
I
your
rolled
pardon.
all those sixes.
I'm
yes.
sorry. So the extra benefit is that you can catch up with Andy if you want to.
I want to. I also
Um,
got stress.
but you also get you get intel, and your stress goes up a bit. And Chewie and Mark, if you all don goggles, then you can begin to make some progress through this. So Andy,
can I use
you
my
are
flashlight?
a flashlight would work. Yeah. It's slightly more confusing because you get reflection back.
But there's that one thing that doesn't reflect mirrors that I now know about as well. That doesn't reflect light.
Oh, yeah.
We said that there's a one
There's
thing.
something in there that's
yeah.
different.
So I know one thing that's it's a way of working it out, you know. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Fair enough. Yeah. So Andy, you are literally around the corner from these guys now. You can see their outline. They can't see you. Gun is with you. Gun, there is something moving among them, which is kind of shadow in shadow, and
That
one of
guy.
them screams.
Okay, I'm trying to get at that shadow guy.
There is the coppery smell of blood in the air.
Yeah, well, I'll trail the smell of blood. I'm not a hound, but you know.
And what burst in to this, because it looks like something is in among the group with Giles Savory.
Oh, okay.
So are you going to try and protect Giles?
He's a shady politician, but this is
Tough questions.
Tough questions, right? Maybe, you know what? Maybe see how this develops.
Something is killing Giles Savory's security.
Do I know that these guys are Black Lodge, Mark?
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Oh yes, of course. But
yeah.
Oh well,
everything in the briefing is.
I will remind you that Savory is part of the mission, though.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. We have to get at him. Okay. I'll try to extract him.
Okay, Andy, do you get in Gun's way, or are you content to have Gun wade in?
I'm definitely not going to get in Gun's way. I will give Gun backup.
Fine. So Gun, what do we see as you kind of head towards this shadow in shadow? Because it's not showing up on the goggles. It's showing up as a shadow against which you can see them. So it's it's a negative space almost.
Muted. That wasn't helpful. I think I have some sort of weapon. I mean, having a gun in here. Hello, I want to see my options. Thank you, thingy. I mean, fire axe. That's messy. That's a bit too messy for this. I mean, I could have a silenced handgun. That seems more appropriate here. I can still go for the Molotov cocktail if I have to. So I'll use my silenced handgun to maybe try to take out this attacker.
Okay. I'm going to declare this attacker. I've called it Shadow in Shadow. The shadow is actually a blast of nature. It is summoning darkness around itself.
Nice.
It has significant strength, and I think, given what I've just described, it probably has berserk rage going for it.
Oh, nice.
So charge it, Gun. You are rolling with expertise.
Mm-hmm.
You're also rolling one of the risk dice because it's a spook. You are rolling the second risk dice because it has great strength, and the third risk dice because it has berserk rage.
Okay, I'm rolling my stress die here. There is no. I mean, this is just a handgun, right? So there is no equipment thingy. No.
No, there never is.
There never is. Okay, and remind me what contacts do and what.
If you can call on a contact, they could give you access to a bigger gun.
Okay.
What are you? They can provide fictional positioning. They can't solve a problem for you.
Okay. I just wondered if there was an option where I could get more dice, but obviously If there is not, then that's fine. I was just wondering if I could do
Oh,
something.
the only way to get that extra dice is a heavy weapon.
Oh.
So a grenade, for instance, you could call on a contact who has supplied a grenade. That might not be the best way to protect giants.
Yeah, that's exactly my thinking, because I could have had a grenade myself. So, I mean, no, I'm rolling. Let's see how that goes. See who dies.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
me, obviously.
So,
But you
so
did
you
succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you are going to roll a d6 to see what consequence there is for you. High would be
And-
good.
And
I
and
will be
stress.
Yeah, and stress. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
But, it's a 4, so that's not good.
So 4, you were lucky this time. It hurts, but you'll live. It clearly
Nice.
has, I will add to it,
Okay, but I don't take stress.
teeth and claws.
Okay.
No,
Ow.
you did take stress because you rolled a 4 on the stress dice at the beginning.
So.
So if the stress dice is equal to or higher than your
Okay.
best roll, yeah.
Oh, okay. Fine.
But yeah, claws, you just feel them scraping across the front of you.
Mm-hmm.
If you declared a stab vest,
I could, yeah. I mean, I was,
you
yeah.
might
I
want to
think,
wait until you roll worse on a consequence, is all I'll say.
yeah.
Okay.
Stab. I mean, I can take a stab vest here, or at least these ceramic implants or something like that.
If you look
Ballistic stab vest. There it
Yeah.
is. I found it.
Andy, what are you doing to back gun up?
Yeah, I think that I'm going to come. I just wanted to check in. How does spending intel on supernatural threats work?
So you have to start with a compulsion, then a deterrent, and finally a vulnerability. Yeah.
Yeah, sure thing.
So based on your research, I think I'm prepared to tell you that this is either a werewolf or a redcap.
Right.
Okay.
Cool.
So let's declare it to be a redcap for the sake of argument. So you could spend intel to declare a compulsion, Andy, that you know about redcaps.
Yeah. Oh, in which case I think it's absolutely going to be to kill people up close and personal.
Okay. What I've got here is attracted to mortal blood as an option.
Yeah. That
so
makes
we'll need
sense.
to get up close and personal to get that blood.
Yeah, exactly.
Now that we have a compulsion in play, anybody could spend intel to declare a deterrent.
But yeah, to go back around to what I'm actually actively doing, in which case it will at this point just be to likewise pull duck out from where I am, pull a gun that's I think I've had in a hidden underneath my shirt.
Those city shirts are very baggy.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I will just take a shot at the shadowy figure.
Okay, let's have you confront the conspiracy and its pawns. So you are rolling with handgun expertise, stress dice if you want it. I think it's more concerned with gun than you, and it's up close and personal. So I think there's no risk to you yet. Sure
thing. I'm going to throw the stress dice in again. I think it definitely seems worthwhile at this stage.
Ouch. Bad weapon discipline, Andy. You empty the magazine in the general direction. There's the sound of shattering glass all around. More screaming now because people outside heard those shots. So chaos ensues, but that might be to your advantage. I don't know, because certainly those shapes that it was attacking, i.e. the security team and Giles, are scattering now that you've made lots of holes in glass panels. Let's go back to Chewie. Chewie, you've got gunfire now. What do you do?
So we're looking for Giles, who is in there.
Yeah.
And I know that Gun's engaged.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and find him.
Okay, so just head to the sound of the guns. March to the sound of the guns. Mark, what about you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark, somebody's going to be coming to investigate.
Yeah. I would like to suggest that maybe I came in through the other entrance. You know, there's two entrances to the hall. There's an entrance and an exit.
Yeah,
so this whole time I've been going around the outside and coming in through the exit, right? So yeah, so close off anybody coming out on the way out.
Okay. So you're trying to stop anyone leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Gun, I can also tell you that this thing is immortal, so you will not be able to kill it without hitting one of its vulnerabilities.
Okay, one question, because I had a success last with my last roll. What did that achieve?
You knocked it back.
Okay.
You're not you know, it's clear that this is not doing it real harm.
Okay. So, but I could spend intel and declare that it is vulnerable to say.
First of all, you'd have to declare a deterrent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can't have a vulnerability till you've got a deterrent.
Okay. But deterrent might be.
Something I'll frighten it off or give it pause.
Yeah, but the deterrent, what could be deterrent? I mean,
well, there are three options. If you look at the deterrent,
cool.
Symbol of faith in the New Gods, sunlight but not UV, or the herb wolfsbane. These are classic. These are the.
Yeah, I don't think we can go with symbol of faith because Gon is atheist. That doesn't help, and I don't think he has wolfsbane with him.
Let me be clear. Symbol of faith in the New Gods. The New Gods of
tech,
digital.
Oh, right. Okay. So I could just get out my smartphone and start filming it.
You could. You could try to deter it by shining your smartphone screen at it.
That doesn't sound like Gun. I'll leave that to.
Seems to be an eminently technical solution.
It's true. It's true. I'm a tech guy. So yeah, then I'll spend an intel to declare that deterrent.
Okay.
And I still have my gun, right? I can still shoot at it just to keep some distance, and then I have two hands.
What this means is that for this next action, none of those risk dice that it was rolling will apply.
Nice.
Deterrent is not a wall.
Mm-hmm.
It puts him off for one action.
Okay.
So by all means, you know, as this thing, because it's now recognized you as the greatest threat.
Mm-hmm.
So it's coming at you.
Nice. Okay.
So flashlight.
Yeah. So I'm kind of shooting, but mostly what I'm doing is I'm using my overclock flashlight on my smartphone.
Fine.
So can I use that with my can I use that with tech?
No, that's just happening. You don't need to roll for that. You need to shoot it, because at least you might be able to keep it away.
Okay, I really wanted to use my specialisms though, but okay.
I'm struggling to see how you can. Now, if you can declare a vulnerability, which is extreme deterrence, then you might be able to rig your smartphone if you had a moment. But at the moment, you are trying to stave this thing off.
Yeah. Okay. Then I'll just roll my my dice here.
Okay, with the stress dice?
No.
Okay.
I've rolled a 6.
Oh, you don't need to do that.
No, I have to roll for stress though.
You do, because this is
6,
frankly scary. But you also get intel, remember?
Oh, nice. Can I use intel to reduce my stress during?
All it said, no, you can't.
Why did she have to roll for stress?
Because she rolled a 6.
I rolled a 6.
Oh, but you didn't. But okay.
Oh, I rolled a 2, but so it doesn't matter. My stress. I'm stressed out enough that just doesn't faze me right now.
This thing is I think actually quite shaken at this point. You're not killing it, It's immortal, not invulnerable.
Hmm.
So it runs away.
Good. Bye.
Mark, what do you do when are you using your flashlight, aren't you?
Yes, I am using my flashlight. Yes. I don't know what the panel that doesn't reflect light might hold.
Well, do you want to head in that direction?
I did say I wanted to have a fight with my old Black Lodge colleagues, didn't I? So no, I'm not going to do that yet. Then I suppose I go through and I try and intercept these people on their way out.
They're coming towards you. I think probably there's only 2 of them left. And they're doing that kind of personal protection thing with Giles, one in front, one behind, with a gun out in front. So let's have you roll to confront the conspiracy and its pawns.
Okay.
You will be rolling one of the risk dice because they're not stupid either.
No, they're not.
And they're primed.
Okay, and I am using, I've got my flashlight, which I shine in their eyes as they come through, and I am going to use the rifle, the assault rifle.
Are you? How heavily loaded were you?
I was at the medium.
Oh, so you were. Go.
Yeah.
So let loose with the assault. I
have
to tell you,
like
Mark,
a long thing. Yeah.
The chance of Giles surviving an attack with an assault rifle is not high.
Fine, I will just stab them then. I think it's like a whole shine the flashlights in, and I'm wearing the mask, and I'm like, quickly this way, pretending to be part of the thing and the crowd, and then as they come past, just like sink.
And one of them drops his gun and says, "Thank God, Gustav."
Oh, nice. Yes. And I smile as I realize that I killed Gustav. Yes. So I will roll.
So you're rolling without expertise, no risk dice now.
No.
Gustav's there.
Yes.
Stress dice if you want it.
Of course. There's a 6 on the stress.
Stress goes up by 1, but that allows you to take both the bodyguards out if you want to.
Yes, I think it's a case of, he drops it and he goes, "Thank God, Gustav, there's this thing." And I go, "Oh, I know it's coming. We've got to get you set." And then as he slumps over, I pick that gun up off the floor and shoot the other one. And then I go, "Mr. Savaloy, nice to see you again."
Take the mask off.
Savory. Yes, exactly. Take the mask off and bow.
And illuminate it from beneath. Great. I don't think Giles is going to resist, I have to say. So by all means, exit stage left with Giles Savory. It seems to be Mark's role in these games to leave the scene with an informant. Gunn, do you want to pursue the Redcap?
Nah.
Or now spend intel to determine its vulnerability?
Oh, I mean, I could. That's what I can do. Now I can say, okay, but this thing is vulnerable to iron or something.
Well, if you have a look at FAE vulnerabilities, you've got bronze, silver, iconic weapon, extreme deterrence, a weaponized deterrent, or a precise strike are the options that you have. Now, I'll be honest with you, you will not, the chance of you weaponizing a deterrent on the hoof is pretty small, but that would be a technical feat.
You think? I mean,
that would be a technical feat.
Wouldn't lightning coming from Fusebox be a kind of?
Well, do you want to select weaponize the symbol of the new gods?
Sure.
Yeah?
Hell yeah. I mean,
so how do you weaponize your smartphone?
I'll pull out, and this is probably not on the equipment list, but I still have 2 things. I put out some sort of, not a car battery, but something, a compact battery, like a large thing, and I'll connect it to my smartphone.
One of those clips on the back, yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly, and then I'll run after that thing, and I will. Are we still in the Hall of Mirrors?
Yeah. I mean, Andy made rather a mess of it, it must be said.
Yeah, but there are still mirrors and mirror shards and stuff like that, right?
Scattered about, but the lights are
Yeah.
still off.
Yeah, but but I have a light, and the light
have a
strikes the
light.
mirror, and then strikes the next, and then the next, and then it strikes the thing.
Andy, what are you doing?
I think as this is all unfolding and the Mark seems to have the principal in hand, and Gunn is going after the Redcap. I think Andy is actually going to scan around again for that mirror that was behaving weirdly, and go and well, look at it for a start. But
Fine.
yeah,
And I think that's probably the point at which Chewie catches up with you now that you've stopped moving. So yeah, roll to investigate, Andy. I'm not seeing any particular expertise at play here, I have to say.
no, research would be the only one, and that feels
Yeah.
very tenuous.
No,
It's looking at a thing.
it
You know,
is.
it's yeah.
So without expertise, stress dice if you want it.
Yeah, go on. I'll throw another stress dice at that. Oof.
Just as well. At the worst of all possible worlds, a 2 on the stress dice puts his stress up by 1. That is failure or succeed at a cost. Succeed at a cost is you find more than you would like.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Yeah. As you peer, you spot one of these mirrors that doesn't reflect properly. And as you peer into it, you look into a 1980s office, and a smart woman with big hair and shoulder pads turns towards you. She has a putter in her hand. Chewie, will you roll to investigate as well, please? Insight.
Yes, I will.
Okay, so you can have expertise. Stress dice if you want it.
I can't afford to roll the stress die right now. The other die didn't roll. There it is, 4.
4. So you can ask me a question about this this mirror and what it's showing, or what I've just described to Andy, because you will see that as well. Well,
the I can ask the question the audience already knows the answer to. Which is insight. I think the question I would ask is that a serious threat? Oh yes. Okay. Because then, as she looks at Andy, then my immediate action would be to try to get Andy out. Okay. Well, let me describe, and then you'll see what you're avoiding. As she turns towards you, Andy, her eyes flash an icy blue. And it's like staring into the reflections you get in an Arctic landscape. There's a fascination to them, and a chill and a coldness to them. And I think that's when Chewie tackles you out of the way. Yeah, does that work? Gun, you're chasing down the Redcap. Let's have you roll to stay with them, because you are having to tinker your smartphone while you run. So you have fieldcraft, and it's a foot chase. So so roll with expertise. Stress dice if you want it.
No. I rolled a 6,
wow,
another
guys.
one. Oh my
Wow,
gosh.
guys. You succeed brilliantly. The GM will agree with you what extra benefit you get. What extra benefit do you get, Gun?
I get it next to a mirror. No, I get it between 2 mirrors that will reflect the light perfectly at it.
So you corner it in effect.
Yeah.
Also mark intel, because you might be learning something.
And I'm rolling for stress.
And roll for stress. Yes.
It's another 2, so that seems unstressful.
Gun is so much better when he's chasing fairies. So much.
Yeah.
Let's see if this works. So you're going to confront the conspiracy and its pawns with technical expertise. You're going to geek them out.
I'm gonna geek them out.
So let's have you roll with technical. stress dice if you want it. It is going to roll those three risk dice as well, though.
I've rolled. I had.
Okay.
I haven't
Fine.
rolled a 3. I have a 5.
Fine.
But you know what? I'm going to use my specialism.
Oh, go
because
ahead.
I can improve the outcome of a dice roll by 1 step, right?
You can.
Yeah, I
You
will.
will improve it to a 6.
Yeah.
So you will get the outcomes of a 6 with none of the concomitant absurdities. So that's fine. That means that you succeed brilliantly. I'll allow you to have an effect before it affects you.
Okay. Do I need to roll the stress die though? Probably, yeah, because it's a 6.
Yes. How does a Redcap get destroyed by the workings of the new gods, Gun?
I think it will realize that it's cornered, right? And it'll be that at that point it'll hiss and try to get deeper into the shadows, right? Because
there's mirrors, there's no shadows.
Yeah, but it thinks it has found one, and that's when I start the battery. And it goes up, and then I just angle the light through the mirrors, and it just hits that thing from all directions, and the skin starts to shrivel and burn, and the hat has on its head catches a flame, and it smells pretty weird.
And it collapses in on itself and is gone.
Yeah, but it can do something to me before it goes, right?
No, it can't, because I'm giving you that you could have an effect on it in the first instance. So
nice.
I'm going to just kill the Redcap.
Thank you.
But you will roll for stress, but
I have.
Nothing happened. And you marked intel.
Yes.
Andy and Chewie, do you want to look back in the mirror? Andy, tempted?
Andy will sort of say from the ground, I think that was her. Her eyes were like nothing I've seen.
Yeah, that's a FAE. Has to be. Question is, I don't know if she's actually here or if we're just seeing a reflection of her. But it may not matter.
So, what do you reckon? Nick the mirror or smash it?
Let's see if we can take it. Cover it up first.
As you know, it's been a busy week for the Manchester Constabulary. As blues and twos begin to streak into the circus, we see Andy Lamb and Chewie Ramirez carrying a mirror covered by a coat away into the shadows, while Gunn nonchalantly strolls back past the stalls, and Mark, with a junior minister with a bag over his head,
in the boot of the car.
In the boot of the car.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that we've got time for debrief. Simple question. Did the team achieve the stated objective of the operation? I'm afraid I don't think you did. Because you don't know why they wanted those innocents. But I think you did neutralize a significant member of the conspiracy. So I'm going to reduce heat by 1. There it goes. So you're stretching the heat out, guys. There's these 6s and not enough 1s. You don't get any relief in the sense of stress because you didn't achieve your objective. You will have an opportunity. I think given the time, we'll do downtime at the start of the next session where you'll have an opportunity to kind of just draw breath and maybe under a tram line in Manchester, have a conversation with somebody else. I am slightly curious where Dr. Brown is. Mark said that he was very happy to just take Dr. Brown where she needed to go. Did anyone object?
Yeah, definitely. I
Yes.
mean, she could be an asset to us.
So you can't keep her in the van perpetually, so I'm guessing she's at the safe house tied to a chair.
I mean, we could just let her go because
Oh, I see. Sorry.
I mean, we still got the ring, right?
You
My,
have.
my inclination's to release her.
Yeah.
Because she certainly knows who her enemies are.
Yeah, and she's not on their side, so she might still be. That might still be valuable.
And
Andy?
and I'm presuming that while, well, certainly Andy's presumption as well on this will be that while we still have the ring, she can't get out clean because, yeah.
Because that was her responsibility. That's right.
Yeah.
So we've still got
the ring is our leverage then over her. Yeah.
She needs to stay in touch with you because you
are
promising her the ring, maybe.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's like,
that works. That works. Okay. Then let's have a quick stars and wishes just to see where you might want to go next time. Let me start with I started here earlier on. So Brandon.
Stars. Let me get past my own debacle
Wishes,
first.
never take your daughter on an op.
I had something in mind, but it clearly blew up in my face. Let's see. No, stars. The fight with the Redcap was terrific. I think that was probably my favorite thing.
Okay.
Yes. Besides, I wish for competency next time. On my own part, I'm not going to speak to anyone else. It's a trip through that mirror.
Ah, right. Wow. Trip to fairy. ... A cool bit of fairy. Okay, Sabine. Any stars?
Sure, I like the session. I like stars too. Jesusita and her bringing her daughter to the circus and not nearly losing her to that soothsayer. I like that. And stars to Andy for the usual methodical work, and to David for the Hall of Mirrors. That was a stroke of genius. I love that. And
perfect.
And stars to Mark for again dragging out the yes that we needed to conclude to go up to the next step of our thing. Our
I've written down
investigation.
3 words there: daughter, mirrors, kidnap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Summarizes. And stars to you, Alan, for having that Redcap and for bringing this to a very satisfying ending.
David, any stars?
Yeah, I mean, well, general stars all around for again another great session. But yeah, it was cool. I like that. I think we got to see certainly like kind of my wishes from last time, in the sense we got like a bit more action, a bit more tension in what we're doing, which was cool. And also got to see a couple of those just little interpersonal moments as well in the interpersonal and stress relieving stuff in general, which was all cool. But yeah, no specific stuff. I really liked the Mark's impersonation of the the marksman. Was a really nice little moment. Again echoing with bringing in the daughter. There was a really cool touch, and it sort of gave some really cool moments to the whole thing, and some of the big investment. And it was it was cool to see Gunn taking down the Redcap was awesome. I really like that. In terms of that, again, the system itself, I think it's been delivering some really interesting moments. I'm still getting my head around it a little bit, but I'm really liking sort of what's coming out of this, and how you've handled kind of the bringing in the complications and whatnot as well, Alan. So it was a really good session.
Great. I just there was a strong guardian, there was a hall of mirrors, and there's my super bad. Yeah, fine. I did actually hit all of the obstacles. Stroke comfort. Great, thank you. Will, any stars?
To you for pulling all of this stuff together into a narrative. A Redcap, even, you know, it could have gone. You know, I'm amazed at how all the various pieces coming together as a moving part, you know, as a one moving thing, you know, rather than it running into too many obstacles and like, I'm not sure I could do that all off my head. But you know, one thing I really loved was that Chewie, you know, did save her daughter above all else. You know, on that fail, it was push harder, which, you know, when it was like, what does Mark do? I was like, well, Mark would definitely leave it if you didn't ask him to. But if you ask him to, then you mean it, right? Because it's you know what the consequences are, right? So it's, I think it was very in character, the whole caring for the NPC. I love the light. I love the city shirt. Yeah. And wishes, I guess I would rather not interrogate Savory so much as blackmail him and, like, you know, get sent documents or like find, you know what I mean? Like do it as a sort of framed in a post after the effect kind of thing. And I guess I think maybe like a hard target, right? You know, like something that's not infiltrating like a public event like we have been doing, like just to see that side of the game a bit more. Bringing good as heavy weapons, perhaps.
You know, I mean, the frame the operation you want.
Yeah,
like perhaps a trip through a mirror.
Yes, well, that would have been my other one. So basically, I wrote down a hard target or a route to fairy and a reason to go. You know, which is up to us, I think, when it comes to the framing questions at the start, really, so as much as anything, and spending our intel.
Sabine, I don't think I asked you if you had a wish.
Yeah, I totally forget that I could have a wish. So,
it's fairies. Of course, you have a wish.
No, I know what comes of that. Yeah, going to fairy seems nice. We'll go and have a creepy dance or something, and the queen. I will become the queen's consort. No moment. So just a second. What am I talking about? No, not at all.
Don't give me ideas.
No, I
Session
like the
3, Gun becomes Mistress of Winter's consort. Final session, rescue Gun.
I mean, I'm up for it, kind of.
David, I don't think I specifically said what your wishes were.
No, that is fair.
Sorry, asked what your wishes were.
Yeah,
told you what your wishes were.
No, I think that what people have said sounds good. Yeah, going for something maybe a bit more directly involving the well, not directly involving, but directly targeting the conspiracy itself would be cool. Yeah, I think that sounds good. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else in specific I want to try and hit next time. I'm just looking forward to it. So yeah.
Okay, fine. Stars from my point of view. Brave choice, daughter. Brave choice. I always endorse brave choices. And I'm sorry, I simply couldn't resist it once you put her in the frame.
No, of course it was. I was just you know, I had some ideas, but just the sequence of events just blew up in my face.
Well, no plan ever, you know, survives contact with the action. Gun, thank you for persevering with the idea of weaponizing a deterrent. You know, because it was good to see that work in practice. Yeah, David, Andy, you know, the idea of a hall of mirrors was just, you know, I was desperate to get you out the fucking tent. And I'm sorry, Will, that meant that whatever you had planned to do in the tent ended up going under the bus. You know, I'm sorry about that.
I was only thinking of things to do in a tent, you know, like you know, how to turn this into part of the fiction. I was imagining like, you know, I need some volunteers from the audience to engage me in a gunfight. You sir, load their guns with blanks, mine with real ones, and you know. Yeah.
And just gun them down in front of 900 people.
Yeah. And then bow and walk out. Yeah. I'm wearing a mask.
Quite. So those are my stars, I think. Wishes. I think, yeah. I mean, I wasn't certain you go for a trip to Fairy in session 3, but I'm prepared to go with that flow. Yeah, because
Yeah, well,
you just stole the portal.
Yeah, well, better. We should make a surprise visit to them than that they should make a surprise visit to us.
Indeed so. Indeed so.
That's the
Okay.
One of the dicta of wet work, right?
Okay, I'm going to stop recording. So wave bye-bye the internet, and